Hi everyone. Today we will be talking with Rick, a volunteer and a good friend of the first voluntary surgical hospital and veterans hub. Hello, Rick.
Hello.
Rick is from Netherlands, and could you tell us about your activity in your native country?
Well, in my native country, I do a lot of different jobs, but mostly coordinating and teaching for children, adults, and mostly on the topic or sphere of sustainability, like stilkist.
Thank you. Rick visit Ukraine very often during not last year, but during some years. And Rick supports Ukraine a lot. Could you tell us what motivated you to support Ukraine, to visit Ukraine, and to be a volunteer for us?
Well, maybe to visit Ukraine first was just as tourist, and during Corona, Ukraine gave me my freedom, because here it was more free. Also, people were not talking so much about Corona, and the news was different before the war. And of course, when you travel and you volunteer, also in Kharkiv, then you meet friends, you meet people, you start to love them. And connections. So after the war, I had to help because people were asking for my help, and I wanted to help. And after coming here to Ivano-Frankivsk, I also saw that veterans, they don't get as much respect as I think they deserve. So that's why also I wanted to help, well, the hospital and other initiatives.
You see that Ukrainians are fighting now for freedom, and what is value freedom for you? What is the meaning of freedom for you?
Freedom for me is that I can say and I can do what I want, and also that people are not trying to hurt me or my loved ones. That's very important for me. Like in Corona time, I felt that the media, the people, they had so much fear in their minds and hearts, and I didn't like it. And that's maybe also, even coming back to Ukraine, there is so much anger and violence here, but you don't see or feel it. I like maybe in other countries, like in Syria, they were afraid, and they are afraid, but here people, they keep their head high, and they keep going. And they're maybe depressed, of course, or sad, but they don't like to show it. And that I respect too. I mean, it's not always good, like you as psychologists do. It's good to talk about it sometimes, especially with people who you trust. But I believe it's not good to give into your fear. Like in American or English, they say, face your fears. So look in the mirror and look what you're afraid of. Then you can understand yourself. And people here do that a lot. And in Netherlands, not so much. In Europe, they're like ostrich. They put their head in the ground and they pretend there is no fear. And I don't like that too.
Rick, as you see, is situation in Ukraine has some impact to Europe countries' behavior of simple citizens of Europe countries. Did they change their behavior or their opinion about freedom, about safety?
Yes.
Safety.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think, well, it's been changing so fast, I think. But it depends. I think if I see and hear people, not so much that it changed. Like people are still hopeful in Europe too, but with this whole situation, sometimes people, they do become afraid. I feel in Europe, at least the news is getting more polarized, like against each other. Although in real life, not so much. But people do become more worried, and like I said before, they more think about themselves, about their own future, and this is normal. But yeah, I do feel maybe it's harder for people to really help, because a lot of people in Europe, they blah blah blah, they want to help Ukraine, but the actions, it makes it more difficult.
What makes you happy?
Okay. Oh, well, in short, the little things in life. Like when I come here, for example, the small things that makes me really happy is the smiles I see in people when they see me again, and even the compliments that you give me or other people. That's really fills my heart with warmth. And the bigger thing that makes me happy, and I can connect it to sustainability, this was or is my passion before, to make the world more green and better. But I understood that the world maybe, of course, needs trees, needs clean air, but I feel it's more important now that the whole world needs freedom. Freedom of speech, freedom of understanding each other. And coming to Ukraine, I realized that it's given me that purpose. Like, it maybe sounds a bit arrogant, but I think I can give people hope here, but also in Netherlands, by sharing my experiences, by doing things. So I hope to be part of this little snowball that gets bigger. Or like with the exposition, maybe like a butterfly effect, that if I change one person, that person can change another person. And then we together, we can make everything much better. Yeah.
Rick, I remember your beautiful project, Dream Catchers for Ukrainians from Netherlands citizens. Could you tell about this project a little bit for our слухачі?
To listeners?
For our listeners.
Yes, well, it was a project which started in my city to connect Ukrainians and Dutch people and other people, like also Syrians or Moroccans, all nationalities we have, so they can share their experiences about war. For example, Syrians have had a very difficult war, very confusing war, many years already. Dutch people hear about it, but also we still have people living from Second World War. So it was really nice to see them connect while they were making the dream catchers. And then afterwards, of course, since I come here, I thought, why not bring it here to share also for the Ukrainians in Netherlands, to give something to their friends and family here, but to also let the people here know that people in Netherlands, not despite, despite as what you maybe read in some Telegram things that maybe Europe is not supporting or anything, I wanted to show them that it is still true. So, and then every dream catcher has like these personal notes and a picture. And some personal notes are simple, by a 6-year-old child. He just says, peace, hold on. But some other people say, oh, I experienced war too. I can only understand, but please keep the hope. So this is a very nice project. Like sometimes I believe the most simple things can have the biggest impact. Like to be here, maybe.
I remember about this project. There was a very beautiful pictures of people who made these dream catchers. Are you going some new projects like this? Do you planning some new projects like this, or maybe no?
No, not directly, but well, I am planning or am trying to put them in another place. And this I like in Ukraine too, because first I wanted to also find one other place, but it was difficult because I could not go to Sumy. It was too dangerous, especially for my mother, let's say. Yes. So I decided to send them 12 dream catchers so they can spread it in Sumy. Then I have, and I put some in Lviv, and I have made contacts in Kyiv. So maybe in Kyiv, I hope it will have the exposition in June. but it will be only 60 dream catchers. So because 40 are spread over, and for me this is typical Ukrainian too, or adapting, that my plan didn't work to put it to one location, but then I thought, why not spread them? Because exposition of 100 is nice, but exposition of 60 is also nice. And then the others can, it's like one ID goes into many little IDs. And that's maybe even more beautiful.
Some dream catchers from you are stay in our hospital, in some rooms of our hospital. Very beautiful. What places of Ukraine, places or cities were impressed you about bigger?
Oh, my biggest impressions.
Biggest impressions.
Yeah, I think, well, Lviv, because it was my first city to visit. And then I was, I don't know, maybe 20, 22 or something like this. But I was surprised how old and beautiful the city was, and also nice coffee, chocolate. Very curious, because that's why I like Ukraine. If I compare, Poland is nice too, but Ukrainians are more curious, more creative, more, in a way, more friendly, maybe also to foreigners, because before the war there were not so many foreigners going. And during Corona, I started to love Kharkiv, became my second city, because Kharkiv is not super cosmopolitan like Kyiv, like not so many nationalities. It's difficult to find in Kharkiv foreigners, so I was meeting locals. And yeah, but of course, already I visited Ivano-Frankivsk too, and I love this city too because of the Stometrivka, the Shevchenko Ulitsa, and Ozero, even before, because not many cities in Ukraine have a car-free area. And in Netherlands, we have it a lot. And when I go to Rome, Paris, all these cities, I always hear cars. Like now we're talking in silence, but in Rome you cannot talk in silence because these machines are everywhere, sounds everywhere. And I'm quite sensitive to sounds, I think. So if I want to talk good with somebody, I prefer a quiet, more quiet place. And Ivano-Frankivsk is definitely one, that's what I really like here. Also that it's very small, similar to my city. Everything is 50 hвилини, 15 minutes away.
You are a very important guest in our hospital and in Veterans Hub.
Oh, thank you.
And this, trying, when you try to speak Ukrainian with our patients, with our soldiers, and with the veterans, they feel a lot of proud of you as a citizen of Europe, and they feel support from you and from Europe. What is the opinion of your citizens of Netherlands about events in Ukraine?
I mean, I read the news, of course. It depends which news, but generally all the news in Netherlands is very critical about Russia and very supportive of Ukraine. Also, Ukrainians in Netherlands, they are still supported a lot. But to be honest, with the war in Israel and now with the whole Trump situation, people in Europe start to worry for themselves too. And I feel if you worry too much about yourself, it's difficult to think about other people. So they still are supportive, but I wish it would be more. And that's also why I come here, because I don't like all these words. I believe English saying actions speak louder than words. And yeah, so, and lead by example. But still, no, Europe, I think, is very supportive of Ukraine. The only thing is people don't see or hear it here, but they really are. People want to do good.
What differences between Ukrainians and citizens of Netherlands. Have you seen? Have you researched? Which are the most impresses you?
You said similarities, but is similar or different?
Maybe differences and similars.
Or both.
If you saw.
Yeah, first I like to look at similarities always in people, like what is nazayim, like similar. And I think maybe it sounds direct, but the humor, like Ukrainians, I love it. I like to joke, shart, and Ukrainians have dark, sarcastic, especially now. Yeah. And I love this because with British people, Italians, you cannot do it. They are too socially like, you cannot say this. And I believe humor in any situation, it's good to start a discussion. Like, what do you think? Ethics. But also to keep positive, to not to get negative. And that's a very Dutch thing too. Like, for example, today I went too early to the class because I thought I had it at 8, but I had to be there at 8:30. I was running and then I was sweating, but then I was happy that, I have half an hour extra. And in Netherlands, we even have a saying, it's a lucky thing after an unlucky thing. So that's also seeing the positive sides of accidents or good things. And Ukrainians are like that too. And more similarities. Ukrainians, well, not similar, they're more creative even than Dutch people. Also, well, the war has shown too that Ukrainians are very adaptive and flexible. That's also, Dutch people are much more, I think, adaptive than Germans or flexible. So that's very similar. I mostly look at it in people. Maybe the food too. We also like potatoes and meat, but we don't have so many national dishes, unfortunately, as you, and not so many tasty too. So food in Netherlands is not so good. Many Ukrainians also say that tomatoes are like, they're water. And I agree. I love it too. When I come, I always like to eat more healthy here because it's more tasty. In Netherlands, or especially America, these countries, it's easier to eat unhealthy because the healthy food is not tasty. Tomatoes taste like water. Cucumbers too. And not only that, I also like the process. I like to go to the markets here to buy fresh food because these babush, they also talk to me only, and they're not shy. They talk blah, 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 blah. And I love this. This is for me a very good school too. And maybe but the differences, I don't like to look at differences so much, but Dutch people can complain too, but sometimes I hear that too, like very critical kind of about the government or other things. And in Netherlands, we can be critical too, but I like this saying at least, when I point at somewhere, 3 fingers are pointing at me. So if I'm saying the government is corrupt, do I pay taxes? Do I pay police officers? Do I buy my exam for school? So before you point at somebody, first point at you. And this is, Dutch, this is a big difference, but you've noticed this from me. We like to be direct. If I will tell you now, you look beautiful, beautiful dress, but if you don't have a nice dress, I will also tell you. I mean, if you ask me, I would be like, no, the other one is better. So I think honesty, we have a saying too, honesty lasts the longest. If you tell a lie, it's maybe good for now, but not tomorrow. Because if I tell you, for example, this is a beautiful dress and I don't like it, then maybe you will wear it every day. Then I'm like, I should have said it's maybe not so good. So that's why I like honesty, and direct. I think Dutch are very direct in their ways.
What was the cause of your decision to learn Ukrainian?
Already in Kharkiv, I tried to learn Ukrainian, not Russian, because Ukrainian is more similar to Polish, Slovak, Czech. And I know also French. So when I go to South Europe, Italy, Spain, Portugal, I can understand them. with English, I can learn I can communicate in Scandinavia, England, and Germany. And if I know Slavic language, like Ukrainian, then I can also understand Eastern Europe. So because of learning these languages, only after learning languages, I feel, you can learn how to connect to people, to all people. So that's why it's very important for me, was already, to learn Ukrainian, so I can communicate with all my European brothers and sisters, at least in Eastern Europe.
Your friends, your family, how do they react to your trips in Ukraine? Because they know about небезпека, about dangerous in Ukraine, and how did they react for you?
Yeah, it's like a process. In the beginning, of course, my mother, and especially a good friend of mine in Netherlands, he's from Syria, they didn't like it, because of course they see the news, and my mother doesn't want anything to happen to me, of course. But I had to convince them, I had to make plans, plan B, plan C. So I was not worried so much, because I'm rational, and I think Ivano-Frankivsk is a very safe place to live. Like I told you, more safe than Rio de Janeiro, statistically and by a feeling. But at the same time, I do try to be careful, and I think for me it was important to make them feel safer, not me, but them. And after a while, they get used to it. So I also like it that people think it's dangerous here, yes, in Europe, but also they think it's not so dangerous, because they also see me going a lot, so nothing happens to me yet. So,
as I know, you have a lot of friends now in Ukraine. Do you remember some histories of Ukrainians which was important for you, about histories about war events? Could you tell me some histories, or one history?
Well, to be honest, same like in Netherlands, I don't like looking to the past so much, to big names or figures, but I do have a lot of examples here in Franek, like Stanislav, your director of Brass. His story was beautiful, that he his business idea was to make a cosmetic hospital, then the war came, and then he changed his thinking together with investors to make it into a volunteer hospital, to use the equipment that they were used for making breast or lips bigger, to use to save veterans or to help. That's for me the real heroes. For me, the real heroes, they are alive. And of course, the dead heroes, they also are taught, but I still don't know so many Ukrainian, like Shevchenko, all these kind of names, because first, the last names are very long and difficult for me to remember. And if I don't know people personally, or I know the whole story, it's difficult for me to make them into idols. Like in Netherlands, for example, we have had big generals in the past, 300 years ago. But now, today, we also know they were criminals, because they won battles, but they transported slaves, for example. So that's why I'm careful to put people higher. I first want to evaluate, I want to see their actions, because what's written in a book, it's not always the full truth. So yeah, here Stanislav is definitely an example. Also my friend Ruslan, who you know, I think. I base it on intuition and actions. So if people have a good heart, they are my idol.
Super, thank you.
Well, firstly, I believe the most important thing of sustainability is not solar panels, not waste, thinking. You need to think in circles, not in what they say in English, in a dead end. Like oil is a dead end. It's a road that is ending soon, because oil will finish one day. Saying like water, if we keep polluting water, we will stop drinking water, because poisoned water you cannot drink. So for me, it's about the first step is change your way of thinking. And the biggest what I see in Ukraine, what breaks my heart almost and makes me even angry almost, if people put the heating on and the window open. Then you ask Putler or all these people to export gas to you, you make them rich, and then you open the window so you need more gas to heat your room.
Of course.
It's like effect, action effect. And I believe, first the waste of materials. So we need to recycle more, reduce. Like when you are heating, close the window. When you are opening the window, close your heating. Simple, I think. But this can also save, balance can save you a lot of money. And this is the money that you keep for yourself and you don't give to people like Putin. So this is, sustainability, believe, is finding win-win-win-win situations, not lose-lose-lose. Because, for example, using gas, using oil, sorry, for me, these are not companies which have a very good heart or reputation. And we live in a democracy, but we live more in a capitalist society. In money, you vote with your money. If you give money to Elon Musk, oil companies, they will grow. If you give money to volunteer organizations like Brus, they will grow. So what do you choose to grow? Life is always a choice. And maybe it's not 2 choices, but it can be 3, 4. You can always make choices, new choices.
I'd like to say thank you for your lecture. It was important for us for changing our thinking, our attitude for these problems, because really in Ukraine it is not wide perception about sustainability, but our team of Brus is making big steps in this напрямок, in this
direction,
in this direction.
or this road.
And we had a discussion in Brus about simple steps which each of us can do. And in your opinion, which main steps for simple Ukrainians can be do each Ukrainian can do for saving our planet and for sustainability?
Well, I think the most important first to think where your biggest apples are and easy to pick. Like I said, close your window when the heating is warm. Open the window when the heating is cold, because you also need fresh air. And also, I already see that a lot here in Ukraine. You are creative enough already, more than in Europe, because you recycle plastic bottles to protect young plants, for example. So keep doing that. For example, when I look for a flower pot, or you see it here too, flower pot is something with a volume. My shoe can be a flower pot because I've seen plants in shoes. So when your shoe is old, you want to throw it away. This is my biggest advice. Before you throw away, I do it at home. I put it on a table in a corner, and then I make sure I can see it. So when I pass it, I'm like, oh, this shoe, what to do with this shoe? And it keeps me creative. It also keeps me in the present, because many times in our lives, we're always thinking about the future or the past. And I think the present, to be in the present, I learned that from other cultures too. If you want to be happy, if you want to see a butterfly, you need to be in the present. So whenever I see this object, after 1 week, if I haven't found a new way, then it goes away. Then I burn it. Or people burn it for me. That's where waste goes. But I like, for example, with this shoe, I like that I think, oh, I can put a flower in there. Or I can hang it on the wall and put something in there so it can hold a flag or whatever. You can put it in a shoe. And people, I see that already in Ukraine, are very curious or creative in that way. So keep going. But that's maybe my biggest advice, to see objects and to try to give them a second life.
Super.
Or third.
Thank you. I have a question for you about reading. Is reading of paper books is popular in Netherlands?
I would say no, but it is becoming more popular because people in Netherlands especially, and Germany too, Nordic countries are very scared also about social media. With all scandals from Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, TikTok, we don't trust it. So people start to shut off. I too, in Netherlands, I don't use Instagram because people don't use Instagram. In Netherlands, I never post anything because I only have my close circle of friends. They know by mouth what I do, or they call me. Well, I mostly talk with them in person. I prefer that. People in Netherlands are now changing into books because the book is a device that doesn't have pop-ups, doesn't have notifications, doesn't use electricity too. A book is giving you more peace and rest. A phone, it makes our lives very fast. It is good too, but this is a power that we need to understand before we use it. And if I can also give a very sustainable advice, children, please be careful to use it. It has a big effect on especially the young children's minds. They're only starting to realize it now. In Netherlands, primary schools, secondary too, you cannot have phones in the schools. Because they researched it's bad for their social skills, for their curiosity. It gives us a lot of information, but also it takes away a lot of our future needed skills. Because I believe the children of the future need to communicate, need to think critical with all this different news. They should not only trust one TikTok blogger. So books, I think they will always be popular, I think, because in a book you can use your imagination. But for English learning, I don't like books, at least speaking. Books, English learning in books, no. I think it's very inefficient. Then I like videos or games.
Rick, how do you feel at home? And what is home for you? And where is your home?
Yeah. Oh, 3 questions. Yeah, for me, home in general, I had new ideas about this because Ukraine, to be honest, it was not easy for me. Also, not in the beginning of the war. After, I felt and I saw all the pain of people. And I had it in my house. I had many Ukrainians in my house. Then my home changed because it was very busy. It was like a hub. But then, after helping and coming here too, I keep coming back and forth. And the first year or first 2 years was quite difficult for me because I couldn't see enough people in my home anymore. So I had to make my circle of friends smaller. So I had to say goodbye to some things. Also, every time coming here, saying hello to you, going away, saying bye to you, going to Netherlands, saying hi to my friends and my mother and sister, going away. So you see, this also put me before in quite some stress, I must say, too, and choices. But during the years, I think this last year, I found more balance in myself and to accept it, that I cannot see everyone. I have to disappoint people sometimes, that I cannot see them or cannot do. Also now I know more people, you see, and like to help people. But luckily, this is my direct nature too. I can say no to people too in a good way. I can just say, I would like to help you, but now I cannot. I will keep it in my mind. Maybe if I see opportunities, or we can try to ask somebody else for help. Like I don't always have to help people. I can also ask other people to help people. So Ukraine has taught me a lot about that. And then the home, yeah, for me, a house is just, that's sustainability too. A house is just a house. It for me, if I have a nice couch and I feel safe and comfortable in my house, then that's my home. And yeah, also my home, it does maybe is a bit where my dearest people are, like my mother and my sister, my friend, my good friends back home. They make me feel more at home, but to feel at home, that I feel like where I belong, that's both. I feel I belong in Netherlands too, but I definitely also feel that I belong in Ukraine. Because these last 5 years even, I think, yeah, it's been a big part of me, and yeah, it's not something you can erase, like. So it's, yeah, and it's, yeah, definitely got into my heart and mind with language, with food, even with culture. Like I became more creative, also more flexible. Like during Corona times in Kharkiv, I realized the laws in Netherlands or the mentality of people are quite black and white. You should keep your mouth mask like this. You should always pay, well, taxes, which is good, but you should always follow the law. You should always respect people maybe and be friendly to them. That's in Netherlands, and in Ukraine it's not always the way. And I like this too, so even maybe I can be more rude here sometimes than in Netherlands, because I feel, well, especially in Kharkiv, I don't know, if people don't respect me, I don't have to respect them too so much. And that I like. In Netherlands, it's a little bit too friendly sometimes. And the hospitality here, I learned that too, like giving parties or sharing drinks. In Netherlands, we are like double Dutch. We pay separate, we do everything separate, because we don't want to offend or make the other people think like, oh, he never pays. And it's so much thinking. And I'm here more in the present, in the moment sometimes. I just don't worry about it. So all these little things make me feel at home. I think when you learn the language and the food and the people, you automatically start to feel at home.
Fantastic answer. Thank
Yeah.
you, Rick.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you for your golden heart. Thank you for your support of Ukraine, and thank you that you are my friend.
Oh, thank you.